Hello, this is Gary King presenting Group 6's presentation for Chapter 4 entitled The Third Way, The Principles of Continual Learning and Experimentation. In our group we have Federin Oluwarde and Omikunele Timelin Michael. I apologize if I butchered your names. We haven't had a chance to discuss pronunciation yet. The introduction is continuous improvement or continuous learning around the system means that you need to collect a lot of data about the systems and build processes around the systems that address issues and learn how the system works. Experimentation is basically using scientific methods that have been used over the years and inject changes into the system and understand that when there are failures, it's an opportunity to learn and not to blame the individual and the organization, and it is an opportunity to address that the leadership can address to learn from a failure and to basically improve from that and accept failure as okay. If we treat failure as okay, then that gives us an opportunity to improve it instead of trying to hide it. Enabling organizational learning and a safety culture. So what does that mean? How can we create this learning culture in an organization? Well, organizational learning is, true learning organizations are rare, even though the idea is widely accepted. Why is that? Because we have structures, we have different things, and oftentimes companies and organizations are purposed around meeting a goal, and so they are not going out to try to find new ways or learn ways to fix problems or to solve things that deviate from their goal. Normally with the company that's making money. If it deviates from making money, they're usually not so interested in that. The learning process itself, in order to learn, one must be humble. No one person has the grasp of all the wide land firefighting community needs to know. So what we mean by that, and I see this in companies I've worked for as well, is no one person knows everything. And so I think companies are really good at understanding this. So they hire a bunch of people that are very specialized in different things. We hire some person who's really good at this one thing and another person who's really good at this other thing instead of one person that's kind of a jack of all trades. People that are jack of all trades tend to be masters of none. And so you want to have people that are specialized, and we need to be humble that so-and-so may be better at this than I am. And so we need to be able to rely on each other for what we're best at. We need to be tolerating error. Everyone wants to learn, but nobody ever wants to be wrong. That's so very true. None of us ever wants to be blamed for any of those things. But we need to be able to feel psychologically safe that if we do make a mistake, which almost always happens in the process of learning, mistakes get made, that we use those as opportunities to learn from them and know that you're not going to get like fired or anything over one mistake like that. Take an opportunity to learn. Learning leaders can create opportunities and learning forums and shared experiences. I remember at one company I worked at, we were following the same processes that Toyota had going, or we were trying to with Six Sigma, and we were trying to when we were creating these meetings where we would discuss things and talk about, hey, these are some inefficiencies, these are things that aren't working that we need to address. And as a company, we worked together and we pulled in all sorts of different departments on that. We had a representative from each department each week that would meet together and discuss these things that were areas where we could improve, changes that could be made to improve the overall experience for everyone in the company and for our customers. So a safety culture really has several components. You've got to have a commitment to that culture. You've got to have consultation. People have to meet together. There has to be discussion. Then there's got to be policies and procedures developed. You still have to have some rules saying, this is how we do things. And then there has to be training. You really got to teach people how to do this. There has to be responsibility and accountability. If no one's held responsible for improving things, things just get ignored. And so people have to take on that responsibility to make sure changes are made, and also be held accountable for when those aren't made. Timetables have to be met, otherwise nothing changes. And then you have to measure and review those changes and those improvements as they go along and see how things are helping out and improving things there. So to institutionalize the improvement of daily work, we need to create, the team needs to, if a team doesn't create a process to improve the operations, the same problems will keep repeating themselves. If we bring up a problem and say, hey, we're doing X, Y, and Z, and that always gives us this D result, but we want a B result, then we need to change this XYZ to XYC or something like that. And so if we don't change that, then the problem keeps repeating itself. It is important to identify those problems to correct them, and the team that identifies issues daily and corrects them will have quick development and turnaround times. Teams that work together quickly, daily, even weekly can be good. I know companies that never talk about these things, so nothing ever changes. But if you can, the more regularly teams meet, discuss, and work on these issues, the quicker they will have turnarounds, happier customers, happier development, progress is made. To inject resilience patterns into our daily work, we need to continuously test the systems and learn from the failures. We need to understand there will be failures on the system so that we can learn and improve. And we need to understand that failures on the system will help us improve and facilitate a continuous operation. We need to not be afraid of failure, but we need to learn from it quickly so that we don't continue to repeat it. To transform local discoveries into global improvements, to help an organization to transform these local discoveries where we find a problem in our own work area into improvements that will help like the entire company. That experience and knowledge needs to be shared. We have to be talking to people and working with our teams and with the company as a whole. The individual within the system needs to have a plan of action. Everyone needs to have procedures and stuff. They need to know how to go around sharing that knowledge in a way that's appropriate and helping everyone to improve. Sometimes, with structures, the boss doesn't like being told that doing this will fix his problem. He doesn't like that coming from the underlings, but, there needs to be a system in place. So when he knows it's not you telling him what to do because you think you're smarter, just that you've experienced this and you can help the whole company through it. Organizations need to create room for that improvement that will facilitate that learning. So in conclusion, those are the above principles that can facilitate organizations' working technology value stream to continue learning and improving on the system. This can be achieved by applying these following principles: enabling organizations' learning in a safety culture, institutionalize an improvement of daily work, transform local discoveries into global discoveries, inject the resilience patterns into our daily work, and leaders need to reinforce that learning culture. If we can do all these things, if we can really, focus on that culture of safety and improvement and learning, and if we can do it on a daily basis, if we can transform what we're learning individually to where we're sharing it with the whole group, whether that's just the whole company, maybe it's even the whole world. And then as long as we inject those patterns into our daily work, and as long as the leaders reinforce that culture, we'll see improvement made and development and everything increase, and you'll have a much happier workforce and a much more productive company. And that's our presentation.